Ladies and gentlemen, so welcome back to another video on the AJ Plays channel. Today we are we're back in the MLW realm as soon as the season is starting to pick up. We are getting close, and the documentary for the Downtown Diamondbacks should be released sometime soon. This means, what I'm trying to say here is that today I'm going to be doing something to get us thinking more toward 2022 going forward. Here we are with the pre-draft power rankings. I will be doing two power rankings, one for the draft, before the draft, one after the draft, and then the heavily anticipated, for my channel at least, and probably expected, the Haters Guide to the 2022 MLW season. So let's get going with these power rankings. I don't even have a script or anything, but I do have the teams listed in order, and I will justify my opinion on why they are there. First off, I think number one, simple, Downtown Diamondbacks. You got the league MVP who just won literally half of the awards at the awards ceremony. Behind him, you have a guy in Jonah Heath. He's a really, really good second option, one of the best second options in the league, both on the mound and at the plate. He can rake, he can pitch very well. Michael Shima, he has a bit of a clutch gene in him. He can hit for contact really well, great on base kind of guy. And then finally, you still have Ben Wilson, who, if he does, if he's back into his 2020 form, then this team is only even more dangerous because Ben Wilson, he had a couple decent games, but not many in his appearances last year. However, so going forward, though, we will not mention the draft in this whatsoever because I'm fully anticipating the Diamondbacks to draft the final Livonia guy from the Winter League in 2020, that being Nathan Boyar. That's what I'm fully expecting. However, what I will say is that I doubt, I'm not going to be putting any draft picks, any consideration. This is what the teams are looking like as of now, pre-draft. I've emphasized that. Let's make it clear. Next, our number two team, Western Wildcats. Honestly, the World Series right now for me is the deciding factor between ranking the Diamondbacks first and the Wildcats second, because Diamondbacks, obviously, they're first. They're the hottest team. They're one of the best teams. They have one of the best players in MLW. That does not take any credit away from the Wildcats for being second. Nick Saylor took a massive step up last year, becoming a very somehow dominant presence on the mound, while he continued to rake at the plate and was in the running for MVP along with fellow Wildcats Kyle Schultz. So again, these guys have the best two-headed monster in MLW. Just the supporting cast around them this year is going to be a little bit unsure, in my opinion. Jackson Pearson is certainly to return. You're going to be seeing quite a bit of him now that Ryan Kelly has officially retired from MLW. But then you got some guys like Austin Ford and Michael Aguilar and Zach Purak. We don't know where they're at, but there is a draft pick who, again, we're not going to consider that. So right now, we're thinking that core three, unfortunately, they came so close, got so far to beating the Diamondbacks, but they, in my opinion, they remain the second best team in MLW this season. For this upcoming season, that is. Number three. So this is the plethora of teams that finished with an 8-7 or 7-8 record. This is, first up, third overall. Honestly, I'm ranking the Eastern Eagles. And there's a bit of an explanation why. Daniel Schultz, his season got really overlooked last year. I think he had a really good finish to his season on the mound and at the plates. If we factor out his first series against the Diamondbacks, which unfortunately, Dan, was horrible, he had a really good year. Behind him, Rookie of the Year, Dallas Allen. He really proved a lot of us, based on your opinion of how well you thought he did. Proved some of you wrong, proved some of us right. But point aside, he is a really, really good player for this team. Zach Whalen is going to continue to be a consistent player for the squad, and Blade Walker will be returning to the team this year as well. If he can play a full season alongside Daniel, Zach, and Dallas, I think this is a very loaded team who still has Neil Smith and Clayton Price to turn to in the worst of situations. So it's a really good position to be in for you to have a lot of decent quality players that you can surround a superstar like Daniel Schultz with. So that's why I got the Eagles at 3 based on their ideal depth and the expectations that we have for these sophomores going into next year. Number 4, this is no Magic bias whatsoever, but the Metro Magic are my number 4 team. Listen, a lot of people say that Bonham has potential to fall off. His stuff is a bit meaty. I'm sorry, but you were not saying that when he was the lone guy on the Mallards who was doing so well for the team. You were not saying that. He had maybe one bad series against the Western Wildcats in the Metro Magic uniform. I personally think that Bonham will still be able to maintain, if not up his game this upcoming season. Um, However, I said the same thing with Liam Jackson last year, and that did not go well. The team around Bonham, Jack Agner, Jason Chadwick, who honestly I expect him to have an MVP season this year. I'll explain more in a future hot takes video that I'm going to be recording sometime soon. Jordan Curdy, Jason Chadwick, Liam Jackson, Jack Agner, and even if you need him, James Swanson. You have all these guys around Trevor Bonham. This is the best team I think the Metro Magic have ever assembled, and we all fully expect them to make the push next year for the World Series with two competent pitchers finally both on the team. Next up, number 5, we have the Great Lakes Gators. So this team right now, Brendan Zerlag is what really pushes them over the top. Because you may say, oh, Chris Cheatham did really well both at the plate and on the mound last year. He really brought in the momentum from his 2020 World Series. That may be true, but Brendan Zerlag's new energy, his new ability, Brendan Zerlag, his energy, his ability, he brought it all to the team last year. And as much as they fell short of the World Series, that was against a very, very competitive downtown Diamondbacks team. So I will say that this upcoming season is one that the Gators can look forward to because they still have a team full of Brandon Jorgensen, who at times last year we saw him returning to his 2020 self, his very, very dominant self, which was good to see. Still have Chris Cheatham, which is a fantastic piece on both sides of the ball. And Brendan Zerlag, you know what? Hey, that's honestly a fantastic hitter right there. I still have you guys as 5 right now overall. Next up, number 6. As much as they didn't make the playoffs, realistically, I can't rank them much lower than 6th. Pacific Predators. This team still has the 2019 MVP in Ryan Cratch, who has proven he's got the most filthy stuff at times. He can be a very, very, very dominant pitcher. Stephen McGlade, the piece that the Predators have needed, he really makes this team complete now. However, there's so much more talent in MLW surrounding all these guys, so that makes a lot of sense. However, though, Alec Ward, a fantastic at the plate, still a great manager. I think 2021 was a good lesson learned for him. And Brendan Russell did have an underrated 2021 season. A lot of people thought he should have been in the All-Star conversation. But McGlade, Russell, Cratch, Warda, if that's your core 4 to start, and you still have Rudy Ramirez at times who will show up and play, I personally think that the Predators still have a really good shot at making the playoffs in this upcoming season. That's not even factoring in the draft pick. They literally missed on like 6 tiebreakers. So all I'm going to say is Pacific Predators, 2021 is in the past. I'm really looking forward to the 2022 season. 7th, the Coastal Cobras. I think this one speaks for itself just because they're not the final number 8 team. So now that I listed the previous 4 teams in this flurry, you got the Cobras, who are obviously the 7th. Don't let the number 7 ranking fool you because Drew Davis had a fantastic season last year. Definitely rebounded from his 2020 very disappointing season. Sean Flynn absolutely balled out in his ALDS appearance in 2021. Hopefully Brendan Baranowski continues to develop, which would be great. And Andy Durant, if he can appear and Gus can even get some good playing time, there's a lot of guys on this team who can play. And they all have shown that they do have tremendous skill. What it is for me right now is that Baranowski's not always playing at his best. Sean is not as consistent as a power hitter as we'd like, and Andy Durant's not always showing up. So hopefully, I think Drew's morale has no longer gotten the best of him, so I think he is locked in 100% of the time now, which is great for a team that needs that kind of thing. So all I'm going to say is that even though they're number 7, they still have a good shot this year to make some noise. We'll see what happens. Number 7 overall, below the Predators, simply based on the way their team is structured and the availability of players as well as the talent that certain players do have. Number 8, the Midwest Mallards. This one I'm going to keep very short because it's simple enough. You traded Trevor Bonham last year because you literally had nothing to surround him with. Tommy Coughlin's hitting was above average. Caden Irwin was a disaster on the mound. Davenport showed a little bit of positives in his appearances, but right now your team after this draft, we'll be talking a different discussion because you'll have 2/3 of your lineup, at least 40% of your team is going to change. However, all I'm gonna need to say though is, Tom, you need to really hit these draft picks out of the park here because unfortunately the Midwest Mallards are not even close to the dynasty they were 5 years ago. They were at the top. The Mallards have now trickled all the way down to the bottom of MLW. Shouldn't even need to be explained because they're the damn Midwest Mallards of 2021 that we're talking about. Hopefully that changes this year for the 2022 season, which we will come back to and think about some of these rankings after the draft happens, the post-draft 2022 power rankings, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for that video. It should be coming soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys all next time. Peace out.